Hi everyone and happy Monday. We have a picture today from Johanna Basford's Enchanted Forest, obviously in the weekly planner, well maybe not obviously, which is what I am going to be colouring, but this is I think identical to the page in Enchanted Forest. If you don't have the planner, you could colour along with that if you want to. Now this is I've decided, to colour this page in Black Widow pencils. However, the background's quite big here, although it's not huge, it's not the whole page. I may do some pastels or something there, or something a bit different. I haven't decided yet, but let's just crack on with a few of the details and see how we go really. Now Black Widows, just quickly, I have the Spider, Cobra, Scorpion and Skin Tone sets. I'm going to be selecting from all of those probably. I've got them all here. So I don't have all of them, but that's what I'm going to be using. And I'm actually going to start with the skin tone. This is a dark skin tone pencil in the cinnamon, and I'm going to be doing the mast. That's the word. Goodness, brain's left head. And I'm just going to start with a layer of cinnamon across the whole wood, and then we'll darken up some areas in a minute. I don't know why I'm starting here. Just feels the place to start for me. There is actually a lot of leaves to colour in this, as often, just working out what's going on here, as often there is in Johanna Basford. So I thought if we do something leafy, then we can move on to something not leafy, and we can just do the leaves bit by bit through, because then we won't get like overwhelmed by leaves, which, as much as I like colouring leaves, sometimes, you know, doing too many at once can be a little bit overwhelming. Enchanted Forest, I think a lot of people can do this bit as well. I'm just seeing what you can see. I'll come in a little bit. I'll move you into the middle. There we go. So we can't see the bottom at the minute, but it doesn't matter. I know some people got really overwhelmed with leaves in Enchanted Forest, but I didn't. But then I had other books as well, so I wasn't doing that one all the time. I'm going to jump to quite a dark colour, darker colour I guess. This is called Mud. It's again from the same set. I'm just playing around with my dark skin tone set at the minute. So I want to go really dark along the bottom here. Don't want to go too far into the centre if I can help it, but it's tricky, so you need quite a sharp point, which I don't think I've got, to be honest. And then same along the top, so we get a sort of darker edges to our wood. It doesn't really, it will show it better on this one because it's a bit thicker. So you can see I've put a dark bit either side, but I'm just going to do a lighter layer of this dark colour towards the centre, so it isn't just a stripe along the edge. So you can see if I just put here, it's just a stripe, but if I just gently bring the colour in a little bit, then it's sort of blends it into the one underneath and doesn't look quite so stark. There we go. You can hear banging. I'm expecting a delivery, so we'll see if that was, I don't think that was a van, sounded like someone's front door. But yeah, I had a text this morning at 7:10, and it was on my landline, because I'd given them my landline, so the phone rang, and then it said it's a text, and it was from the company saying my parcel's being delivered today. It's like scared us all having a phone call at that time of the morning. You think, oh my, you fear the worst. But as soon as I saw the phone number wasn't one I recognised, I wasn't so concerned really, because you expect to get calls from, you know, people you know. Anyway, I'm just tidying this up a little bit here and there. I think I'm going to grab a slightly lighter one. We've got this one called Olive Brown. It might be a bit greeny. I think it'd be okay actually for wood. And I'm just going to go down that centre part with this slightly lighter colour, and hopefully it will just, oops, make it look a bit brighter. There we go. That's it. That's all I'm going to do on there. Now, the only other thing, I did say that's all, and now I'm doing a bit more. I'm going to use the choctone to do a few shadows. I'm just thinking under here, there's just the tiniest bit, you won't see that. Under here, where there's this little thing clasped around, we've got a loop there which I haven't coloured in. Hang on, we'll do that in a minute. We'll go underneath here and under the rope, just so it looks a bit shadowy. And yes, I'm going to sharpen this cinnamon. Okay, there we go. And just do inside there, which is a bit that I missed. I'm only going to keep it cinnamon, I think it's fine. Okay, now we've got leaves. What colour should we do? It doesn't really matter. We're using an olive tone somewhere along the line, so I might use an olive. Obviously I don't have greens in my skin tone, so I'm grabbing a scorpion pencil. This is the olive green. I'm going to try and give it a sharpener. Some of these need a dowel. They get a little bit sensitive and my sharpener's a bit full. Yeah, hold on a minute. Right, I sharpened it in my dowel. You can see lovely sharp point. But my little Norris sharpener was full. So that's probably why the pencil broke. It's always wise to be a little bit careful. Make sure your barrel sharpeners don't get full. It doesn't seem to happen with the hand cranks. Even if they get really full, they don't seem to break the pencil. I do get a few breaks in my hand crank sharpener, but not that many. So I'm trying to just make my leaves a little bit darker at the base, so I'm just colouring over and over them a little bit more at the base compared with the top. Now, if you were very clever at this, you would make this bit of tree a bit lighter because of the light from this lamp. I am not that clever person. I have tried to do light effects from lamps, like, you know, make it a yellow circle around here, for example, to make it look like the light shining out. It always looks awful when I do it. Other people can do it amazingly well, but it's not something that I'm very good at yet. You know, it's something I can learn. Obviously, we can all learn. But so I'm not confident in showing you that because it always looks terrible. So I'm going to do something a little bit different with the lamp. Probably use some metallic pens or something to just try and show a bit of light coming off it in a much more simple way. Now this is like our flag. I'm not going to use the same colour green, I don't think. I think it would be fun to mix it up a bit. I really do like this colour though, so I'm tempted to just use this colour for everything because it's lovely, but I mustn't do that. Get a bit boring, won't it? We're going to do these though. And then think about our sail. Now the sail could be all sorts of colours, it doesn't have to be green. I quite like the idea of doing green. I mean, I've got a lot of greens in these, between these sets, particularly in the Scorpion set. There's a lot of greens. There's 3 in the Cobra, there's 4 in the Spider, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the Scorpion set. So we've got a huge selection, so we might as well use them. I'm actually going to grab this one. I've just spotted it while I was talking on. Now this is the charcoal green from the Scorpion set, and it's quite a grey green. It's a bit like the earth green in the polychromos. There is an equivalent in the Prisma, but I can't remember what it's called. And I think I'm going to do this for the flag because it's going to look a little bit different, and I think that'll help it stand out. Of course, if you wish, you could do this in any colour. You could do it in red, like an autumnal leaf. You could do it in purple, like no leaf. You could do it pink, anything you want, but I'm just thinking let's do it like this so it looks quite grey green. I'm trying to fade it a little bit towards the tip, as I hope you can see. I'm tempted to go over it in a yellow to make it stand out, but then that's going to completely defeat the point of doing it that sort of grey colour, because then it will look yellow. So I think we'll just leave it there, and we'll do these leaves again in a different colour. Just looking at this bit here where the branch and the leaf are sort of tied up, I always think that looks a bit like a rope, and it's quite nice doing it in a sort of goldish, green gold type colour. I'm just looking at what I've got. I've got something called olive gold. It's going to be green. I think I might just use the dark tan from the scorpion set. That might just work. Oh, my fingers are cold. It is -4 at the moment. Brr. I've just turned my boiler up a bit. The flow temperature was on 60. Apparently I'm just going to sort of fade that up just a bit like that. I don't know why I think I should. Looks like it should be blended in, which is weird because why would it be? But it sort of suddenly stops. Anyway, and we've got a little bit of rope at the top, and for this one I'm going to make it a little bit darker on the right and left because it's sort of twisted around the mast. So I think it might be a little bit darker at each end. It's quite difficult to see. In fact, I haven't done a very good job, but yeah. There we go. Now these leaves, now we could do them all different greens, or we could do them all the same green. I usually do them all the same, so I'm wondering, should I do them all different just for a change? So I'm actually going to start with my olive green, which obviously I've used already because I think it will blend nicely into here, and then I'm just going to grab random greens and try them out, and we'll see. Now my plan is to make them a little darker at the bottom or on the edges, and then fade towards the tip so that we get a slightly three-dimensional look to our leaves, although just so that we can see that they're sort of on top of each other. Now I have seen the sale done so that the leaves are ignored and you just colour the whole thing. That's another way you could do it, but I'm just going to play and use lots of colours. This is called lime fruit. Again, I'm grabbing from my scorpion set first and then I use other sets. I think it's easier just to go through one set at a time, for my brain anyway. Just checking my messages. My boys are both out this morning at uni. One of them has been messaging me a bit. We had terrible trouble with the trains. So one son leaves on time, 7:20, mega early, gets the train. That's fine. Other son is going to get the train an hour later. I'm like, oh, look, there's a points failure somewhere along the line. Grub green. And so I said, look, it looks like the train you're going to get is not going to start from London. It's going to start from Reading. So it might, but it's all a bit confused and it might be delayed. So maybe you're better off getting your earlier train. He's like, yeah, I think I will. I'll leave in 10 minutes. That's all fine. He was all ready anyway, apart from the fact he got to the door and I said, have you bought your ticket? And he went, no. So then he bought his ticket and then he went out. I locked the door, and then luckily I was pottering in the kitchen doing a few jobs, and the doorbell rings. He says, I forgot my wallet. Runs upstairs, gets it, goes back. Thinking, crikey. But he gets the train. No worries, they're both on the train. I'm now upstairs doing uploading some videos and blah, and one son, and then I have a look and I see that my one son's train's going to terminate at an earlier station to where he is because there's a points failure near where he's getting off. I'm like, So I message him and he's like, yeah, the driver's just announcing it and telling us to get so-and-so train. I'm like, that's the train your brother's on. He's like, because I started looking at buses, saying to him, you know, if you get off at this stop, do you know where the bus station is from there? And he was like, no. And I said, well, I do, because it's local and I used to do it a lot. Green grass. So I send him a photo off Google Maps. This is how you get there, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, well, the driver's telling us to get X train. And I'm like, oh, that's your brother's train. And yep, you'll get to the station quite a bit late. You'll be late for your class. But, you know, it's a 3-hour class and you'll be like 15 minutes late. I'm sure it'll be fine. We're going to switch to spider. This is the cicada. Okay. And I'm going to not put it there because it's quite light. I'm going to put it over here. And then he says, oh, actually, apparently it's all fixed and we're going all the way. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. And so, yeah, he gets there. Then the other boy says, we're stopped at a red light on the train and driver doesn't know why. Oh, and then the driver announced why, but the speaker system on the train, the tannoy or whatever it is you might call it, everglade, is so bad that I can't hear what he's saying. So that's good. This is a bit bluey, this green, but I think it's fine. So that's good news. And I said, oh, it's probably because of all the trouble, you know, rerouting and stuff, there's probably a backlog. He said, yeah. So anyway, he manages to get in, and because he's on an earlier train, he's fine. So eventually they all get there. Phew, my God, major panic. Stupid trains. They're striking soon as well. Now this is toxic green, I think. There's two left, there's fang green and toxic green. One's darker than the other and I can't remember. I think this is the toxic, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. If you're colouring along with any pencil set, this is a teeny pencil, isn't it? You can just use any greens. I'm just mixing them up to make it a bit different. You can even do some autumnal colours, you know, put some browns, yellows, things like that in. I'm not going to do that now. I've just thought of it and I think, what a good idea. Didn't I have a good idea? How big-headed of me. I think you know what I mean. It would have looked good, but because I haven't started now, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, I've just got to wipe my nose. It runs in this cold weather. Oh, excuse me. Right, so this is got no name on it whatsoever. I think this is the fang green, but as I say, it's the darkest one from the spider set. But you know, as I say, it doesn't matter. You can just mix it up however you wish and go for it. So yeah, my legs and feet are cold. Don't really know how to keep them warm. I can keep my fingers are cold, but not really cold. I can't colour if my fingers are too cold. The wrist warmers really help because the desk is cold and then I lean on the wrist warmers instead of the desk, and that's really good. Oh, actually, before I forget, I'm gonna use the charcoal green, the one we used up here. I think I need to use that. So I don't want it too close to there. I don't want to leave it to the end, so we'll pop it in here. Yes, so the wrist warmers are really good at helping to keep my fingers warm enough to colour. If I just come in from outside, even with gloves on, I have to wait a while before I can colour because my hands are too cold. This is the Cobra. It's the Cobra green, I think. I'm sure it's called Cobra. Yeah, I'm just looking. It says Cobra there, but the name's low down on the pencil, so that is the Cobra colour. So from the Cobra set. And anyway, yes, but my feet are cold. But I have got tight jeans on, like I suppose you could call them like jeggings. They're slim fit, you know, tight jeans, and they're not the warmest of trousers, but I'm quite comfortable in them. This is the opal green, again from the Cobra set, and I've got long socks on which I haven't got pulled right up, but I've got them tucked into some really warm boot slippers, fluffy boot slippers, so it should be warm enough. But on my top half I've got like a long sleeve top and a cardi. My core is lovely and warm, and I've got a scarf as well around my neck, which really helps. Maybe I should put a scarf around my legs. Right, I think this is the forest. Yeah, again from Cobra set. I think we're running out, but that's fine. We can repeat some. This is quite dark. It's going by these dark ones. Probably not a good idea. Anyway, I like this. This forest goes really nice with this Cobra, I think. They work nicely together. It also goes nicely with olive. They both do. There we go. Now, I'm just looking to see if I've missed any. I've got an olive gold in the skin tones, but I'm not convinced that. I'm just going to scribble that and see if it's green. No, it's almost like that Cobra, actually, which isn't quite very green. I've got a turquoise, which might be a bit blue. I'm just going to try that. No, I'm going to use that. This is turquoise from the scorpion set. Sorry, I'm dotting about a bit because I think it's less blue than that one, than the everglade. Now, if you have the monarch and dragon sets, I suspect you've got more greens and enough to do more different greens for each bit. But I don't have those sets. So, what's this? I just found one. Oh, venom. Venom from the Cobra set. I think that's going to be similar. That's okay. That's nice. I don't really like colouring with cobras. But I don't think about it too hard. I think that's the Aquarius. That's blue. Yeah, I think I'm done. So I'm going to go back through a few of them. I'm not going to use the olivey one again because we've used that for these little leaves as well. But I will grab a light one. So I'm thinking I'm going to go to my lime fruit again because we've got a lot of really dark colours here. So we'll just have a bit of a contrast with a light one. Now you notice I'm completely ignoring the marks that Johanna's made on these leaves. Don't be worried about doing that. You can or can't ignore, it's completely up to you. I'm going to use the grub green. There's no rules with colouring, and you know, we can still see Johanna's pretty design, so it doesn't matter about having to go. But you can, if you want to do these bits darker and these bits darker, go for it. It's totally your choice. I think I'm going to use the cicada next. Got a little cluster of light ones now. There we go. Oh, that's really close to that, isn't it? Let's put a bit more down, try and make it look a bit different. What was that I used in there? Is it the grub green? They are so similar in colour, I had no idea. And let's do something darker on the tips so that it's doesn't look the same. What have we got here? Let's do the forest. No, let's do a sort of opaly type. What have we got up here? The Irish green, maybe. Yeah. There we go. Irish green, but you know, it's up to you. So if you're using like polychromos, you probably have enough different colours. You could use your phthalo, your might not use the light phthalo, but you've got your hookers, all sorts. So then we've got a big selection of different colours. This one is a little bit browny, but you know, that's fine. Now what we can do is to try and make them look slightly more 3D by putting a little bit of dark in shadow between them, and we can do that. Actually, we could use our choctone, which we've used before. Here it is. I'm just seeing if it's sharp enough. I think it is. And all you need to do is to just put a little bit of shadow underneath here. You can do this in a black if you'd rather. This isn't the darkest of colours. I think I'm going to have to switch to a black. I'm going to switch to Midnight, which is black from the skin tones. You can use any black. There's a flat black, there's a black widow's black. Ooh. Just sharpening it. I found a lead in my sharpener. There we go. So I'm going to go over what I did so that it is black. And you don't have to do this bit if you don't want to. It's going to show up more on the leaves that are lighter. And you could of course do it lighter on the lighter leaves and darker on darker leaves, but that is a little bit complex for me. Keep it quite simple, I think. Around here. Sorry, concentrating on trying to stay up against those lines or else the effect doesn't quite work. I can't even see if it's working properly yet because I'm concentrating on the small details. It's always important to sit back and have a look at the whole thing. Oh, that was a mistake. Because you can't always quite tell how things are looking until you look from a distance. Now, I don't know if that has made a huge difference or not, but anyway, it's done now. Okay, where should we go next? Let's move away from leaves for a little bit and do this. I'm not going to do the candle itself because I'm going to pick out a colour that I've used somewhere else and match it in, and not green. So, but we can do this sort of the main part. Now, with the Black Widows, I find most of the pencils, the greys, because I'm going to do this in silver, most of the greys are very brown, so they don't make a nice silvery colour. However, in the skin tone there is this greythorn, and it's quite a purpley silvery grey, and it's perfect, and I'll show you. So what I do is I will build up more layers of it here and then do less towards the middle there. Do the same on this side and leave just a little white bit. Just build up a bit more. Do the same through that little tiny bit at the top, is quite hard, and this bit. And then down to the bottom, same thing. More intense here, less towards the middle, like that, and then underneath. And then we get a sort of silvery look. What I'm gonna do is just get a darker colour. I'm thinking a black. I'm gonna grab the midnight and just do a tiny bit on the very edges to really emphasise that dark area. It's quite difficult to keep it light. I've actually put too much down, but we'll blend that in a minute. Like that. And I'm going to go back to my greythorn over the top of this. And hopefully get a sort of silvery look. And it's quite easy, really, I think. There we go. So that is that little bit. We'll do the candle. Now the flame I mean, sorry, not the candle. It is so small that I am not going to try and do a mix of different colours on there, because normally for a candle I would start with a red, go to orange, orange, yellow, yellow, you know. But this is so teeny tiny that I am just going to use the Cobra Sunsets as an orange for the flame, and just do the whole thing in the same colour like that. And then within our little whatever it is, I'm going to do a darkish yellow. So I've got this nugget colour in the Cobra set, which I think will make a nice, it looks quite orangey on camera. It is actually fairly orangey. I'm going to use a really light layer and see how orangey it is, because I really want it to be yellow, not orange. Oh, I think it's okay. It is yellow. I thought it was a yellow. It's not always easy to tell. We can have it a little bit darker around our candle like that, and fade it a little bit on the edges. There we go. And I'm going to go over that with a more vibrant yellow, I think. This one is a favourite of mine, the banana. And just going to go around and over it a bit more so it stands out. And as I say, we'll do the candle a little bit later, but there's another little bit done. Now, the stars in the background, I am going to leave, I think. I might do those in a metallic pen actually later. The compass. Now we've got this sort of hanging device and the outside, and then we've got the actual compass. And it's really small and fiddly. So I am thinking that I might do it in a sort of the closest to gold that I can get without actually doing more than one colour. Just looking at what colour that is. Yeah, I think I'm going to use the mustard from the Cobra set because it's just small. So what I would normally do is leave a little bit of white to make it look shiny, like it's metallic, but this is so teeny tiny that I'm just going to fill the whole of that in. If you're using the page in the actual book, it'd be a bit bigger, you might have space to do that, but I don't. Now, of course, thinking if I want to make this have a little bit of shine on the edge, you would normally think about the light from the candle, so there's a bit of shine here. So I think I'll make the darkest bit here and then fade it to there and do the same there, but only a little bit of white like that. We might, with the compass itself, I tend to cheat a bit, just make it darker around the centre like that, and then make the tips dark and try and leave a white bit in the middle like that. I'm going to just fill in that pointer and the centre, and then I'm going to get a slightly darker pencil. I want a sort of brown. Will the dark tan work? I think so. I quite like to reuse some colours that I've used already, so I haven't got like a million pencils that I've used. It's quite a lot, isn't it? I have to type them out. This is dark tan. I have to type them out in the video description. Oh, that's shredding pencil where I've sharpened it. It is working now. You may struggle to see. I'm just going to sweep that off a bit. There we go. Now we have the background of the compass. I usually do it like blue or something, but the background might be blue. Let's do it in a silver. Let's just use our, let's just throw our greythorn about. Let's use greythorn, and I'm going to put a really light layer across the whole thing. I'm leaving no white, you notice, and then just make it a bit darker in near where we've made it darker on this edge. I think that'll do. Okay, now where should we go now? I haven't got loads of time left really. It depends how long I'm going to make each of these little videos, but we'll see. We've got this lovely toadstool mushroom to do. You know, toadstool mushroom. I am thinking, it's always tempting to use reds, isn't it? I think I'm going to actually start with a red. Just grabbing this one. This is Blood Diamond from the Cobra set. To be honest, there's lots of reds in these sets, and to me they all seem very much of a muchness. But there's a few like burgundy and things, which is different. Some are pinky reds and some are more orangey reds. Now I'm going to use this red for a while, but not for the whole of it. Like that, and just sort of try and fade it down a bit. And then the same on this side. And it would be lighter here from the light, but I'm going to ignore that and just make it lighter down the middle because I find that much easier. I was interestingly reading something a while back, a long time ago, about someone saying how do they do light and shade, and they said they really just sort of ignore the direction of the light and just treat each individual item separately, and that's sort of what I do, which isn't really correct. But this is Carrot. It's from the light skin tones, and I'm going to try it on here. So I'm going to go over what I've done fairly heavily. I realised that red was a pinky red, and now I'm mixing an orange with it, but that's what I wanted. I wanted a more orangey red, more orangey colour. I think that sort of warmth goes nicely with the yellows as well. Going quite light in the middle because I've got another colour to come. I am actually going to use the toadstool from the Black Widow set. And I'm going to go over everything with this. I find it's nice, it creates, if you go over everything, it just helps to blend it all together and helps all the colours to sort of match each other. And if you find that you feel that the colours don't fade into each other well enough, that there's a sort of line, like I think there is here and here, then you can go back and improve it after if you feel the need, or if you may have done a better job than me. So what I'm going to do is grab the blood diamond again and just do a little bit. So I'm going to go over here, just darken it a tad, and just try to fade it in a bit better, like that. I'm happier with that. Just going to extend it gently a little bit further, like that. Okay, now underneath here I usually do these sort of gills in quite a dark brown. I think we've got a dark brown here. We've got the choctone, that's quite dark. I think I'll use that first, and then sort of here. That bit I think should be red. I'm not going to cover it. It's a bit darker towards the centre and then a bit lighter towards the edge, like that. And I'll run another colour over it in a minute. But I'm just noticing that this back piece, I think it needs to be done with the blood diamond to start with. So quite dark here near the stem. Fade it across like that. Dark in here. Fade it across, we'll bring in the other colours too. And then the carrot, I may not worry about the toadstool, we might have enough. I quite like it to be quite dark because it's sort of underneath and shadowy. There we go, I like that. And we need something to go over the top of our choctone. I'm going to use the dark tan again. I know we've used it quite a lot. But I think that works quite well. Now our stem, I'm never quite sure. I'm going to use a bit of this dark tan just to match it in with the colour above, the brown. But I'm going to actually add some grey. But I want a browny grey, so I can use I think I'll use the dim grey from the Cobra set. I was going to use the charcoal, but I think it'll be a little bit too dark. So, but if you want yours a bit darker, you could use the dim grey, the charcoal. I might end up doing that. I'll see how it looks. That yellowy colour I don't like, so I am going to get the charcoal and try and cover it over. Charcoal. This is Cobra again. Yeah, that's it. Get that covered over. There we go. Now we have got our spots to do. I quite like those to be fairly light. What should we do? We've got a really light colour here. We've got this colour called Brown Fog from the light skin tone. I'm going to see what that looks like. Because I don't want them to be, you know, a lot of time we will leave them white, which looks quite nice, but I like to just colour them in. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put a little bit of other colour in there. What should I use? I'm going to use the cinnamon. I know we used it for our mast. Now I'm going to colour, you see how we've got like a circle? I'm going to colour the inside of that quite gently. Like that. I'm going to try and go a bit darker on the edge and lighter in the middle. I'm not sure why Johanna's drawn it like that, but I just fancy having some fun and colouring it like that. So there they are, and I'm actually going to get a choctone and do a little bit of darker bits. So on the bottom here, and along there, not on that one. So just where we can see the bottom. And then I'm thinking they might be standing out from our mushrooms, so we might want to put some shadow under them, but actually they don't stick out here, so they don't, so I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to put a little bit more choctone shadow in there. Maybe I'm being a bit fussy, and along this edge. Right, I'm just going to do these three and then we're going to finish. Okay, now these are chestnut shells, I think, and they tend to come in a olivey green type colour. I am going to start with the Cobra and put a light layer of this down first, because they aren't all the same colour and they're quite pale, so they're interesting with their spikes. But I'm putting this down quite lightly because I know I'm going to be colouring over the top. So I'm going to use my olive green, if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. Again, this is the scorpion, not again. And I'm going to try and colour the main body. I'm going to stripe it on a bit because of the sort of thorns. They're not really thorns, but it's sort of spikes, I guess. So it sort of looks, you can see it looks like it's sort of spiky or even furry. They're not, sometimes they're quite sharp, but not always. I think they're sharp to stop animals eating them until they're ready. I'm just putting a bit of darker area where these are overlapping, so it looks a bit like shadow there as well on the bottom. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I am going to make that do. Let's just come out a little so we can see. We've still got, you can see my mess of pencils. We've still got a lot to do on this page, but I don't want to rush it. I really like this picture, so we're getting there. I may end up doing that candle a red to sort of match in with that, but it depends what colour I do the dragonfly and things like that, but we'll see. But so far, that is where we're at. I think this could be quite a long series, but as I say, I don't want to rush, and I'm having fun. So thank you for watching. I hope that you have a really super Monday, and tune in tomorrow for part 2. Happy colouring!